Okay, so lesson number 3, we're going to be talking about calories. All right, so calories are really important when it comes to you wanting to achieve your goal. You either need to eat enough calories to lose weight, to maintain weight, or to actually gain weight. So let's get into it. What actually is a calorie? So a calorie is just a unit of energy. So everything that you eat, everything that you drink provides energy. All right, and more specifically, it's the amount of energy you need to heat 1 litre of water at 1 degrees Celsius. So whilst different macronutrients are made up of different calories, a calorie is still a calorie, and they will do different things within the body. For instance, protein, carbs and fats will do different things within the body, but ultimately a calorie is a calorie. Where do we get them from? Like I said, you have protein, which has 4 calories per gram. You have carbs, which have 4 calories per gram. And you also have fats with 9 calories per gram. And if you didn't know, alcohol has 7 calories per gram. So what we want to talk about now is calories in versus calories out. Now this is really important when it comes to wanting to achieve your goals, like I said, whether that's to gain weight, to lose weight, or to maintain weight. So understanding energy balance, and this is our nutrition rule number 3 that we previously discussed in another video. All right, so we need to first understand your calorie needs, or what is your goal. Like I said, gain weight, lose weight, maintain weight. Let's have a look first of all at maintenance calories. Maintenance calories is basically if we assume theoretically that your daily intake is 2,500 calories, or a weekly calorie requirement of 17,500, then if you were to eat 2,500 calories per day, then your weight would roughly stay the same. Okay, let's talk about a calorie deficit. In order for us to be able to lose weight, or more specifically body fat, we therefore need to be in a calorie deficit. So this is how, let's take a look at a few different diets, and you've probably experienced some of these before, or you more than likely definitely heard of them. You've got the Atkins diet, which is basically low carb, so you're removing certain food groups, which ultimately creates a calorie deficit. Intermittent fasting is just a time restricted feeding window, which therefore ultimately creates a calorie deficit. The 5-2 diet, 2 days of no food or low calorie, therefore creating a calorie deficit. Ketogenic, popular these days, on the fitness scene, is basically reducing or removing carbs from your diet, eating high protein and veggies, again creating a calorie deficit. Paleo, this was pretty big back maybe 10 years ago, something that I was a fan of back in the day. Still am to a certain degree, because what it does is it removes processed foods from your diet and you increase the amount of protein, veggies and clean whole foods, if you like. So single ingredient rich foods, which is basically what we're advocates of here at LBP. But obviously we're allowing you some kind of flexibility so that you can add in some kind of processed foods if you like. Providing you stay in your calorie deficit, you will still lose weight. And then Slimming World and Weight Watchers and so on and so forth, they basically all work because of a reduction of calories, meaning a calorie deficit. So let's have a look at this chart here. Again, assuming that our daily intake is 2,500 or a weekly total of 17,500. If we were to consume 500 calories a day less, that would give us a total weekly intake of 14,000, which is roughly 3,500 calories a week down. So we would be in a deficit by 3,500, which is roughly the equivalent of 1 pound of body fat. Okay, so there you go. 3,500 calories down is roughly the equivalent of 1 pound of body fat. So what we can then do, by understanding energy balance and how to work out our calories and track our calories, we can then start to manipulate the diet in a way that suits us, whereas some days we can be higher, some days we can be lower. In this instance, in the graph that I'm showing you here, it's just a reduction of 500 calories a day to create that 3,500 deficit, which is the equivalent of 1 pound of body fat. Okay, moving on. How do we go about creating such a calorie deficit? So there's 3 ways in which you can do this. Number 1, you can do it through just food restriction. You can do it through increased activity, so training, walking, that kind of thing, or you can do a combination of both, which is our preferred way of doing it, because then it's not too intense. You're just shaving a couple of hundred off from the food and you're increasing your activity levels, therefore creating a calorie deficit. And if we do this right, if we do it in combination with a good training program and we're eating enough protein and you've got your reduction of calories, you will get leaner and stronger and you'll be fitter and you'll feel tons better for it by doing it in this way. Then we've got the final one, a calorie surplus, which is basically it's the opposite, doing it in reverse order. We do have people that come to us that want to gain weight, that want to build muscle, that don't necessarily want to lose weight. They want to get leaner, they want to get more toned. So in order to do that, we need to create a calorie surplus, which is basically an increase of calories, probably a little bit of a reduction in activity levels, but you would still need to train in order for you to be able to get the desired outcome, which is to be lean and toned. Because if you were just to eat more food, then chances are, yes, you would gain weight, but that weight might not be lean muscle. It might actually be fat, which is obviously the opposite of probably what everybody wants. So let's have a look at the calorie surplus. Again, assuming that we want to be consuming 2,500 a day, we eat slightly over that amount, and therefore we would gain weight. So again, our weekly calorie requirement was 17,500. If we increase up to 2,100, then it's very likely that we will gain weight. And as long as we're doing it with the right training, then we would hopefully get leaner, more toned, and you'd feel fitter, and you'd look a lot better. Okay, so that's the correct way to do it. So the next thing we want to have a look at is if you're actually gaining weight and you're not seeing the goals or the results that you want, it could be that your weekends are causing the damage. Now, this is a very, very common problem. But once we understand the calories in versus calories out, and we understand that how to manipulate calories to suit your lifestyle, and we understand energy balance, then we can make it work for us. So let's say that we're being good Monday to Friday, which is what we hear a lot. But as soon as the weekend comes around, we add in a few extra 1,000 calories per day, which then actually puts you in a calorie surplus. So remember your 17,500 for total for the week. But as soon as weekend comes around, you smash it, having a few beers, wine, pizza, chocolate, etc., etc. You end up over consuming, which puts you in a calorie surplus, which therefore means you're going to gain weight. Maybe not the desired effect for most people, so it's something worth paying attention to and something we can help you with, so that we can make sure that you're getting the best possible results. So ultimately, look, calories matter, and once we understand your goal and we can set you up with the right macronutrients and the training, and you're following the advice, then the next thing is we want you to make sure that you're tracking everything that you're doing. This is very important. If you're tracking everything, then we can then give you the right feedback. If you're giving us the right data, we can give you the right feedback, and we can make changes as and when necessary, so that we can make sure you're getting the best possible results while you're here training with us and long after. So I hope that was useful. That's lesson number 3. Okay, on to the next one.